Hello, Abby, and you've reached out to me on Facebook, and thank you so much. And a little bit about me. I'm a full-time English teacher from California and part-time tutor, so I run an online group tutoring, and so I've helped some students with their college essays. And so a little bit about me. So first of all, let me talk about the process here. So getting on the phone or chatting here on Messenger is fine if you want to ask a couple of questions back and forth. I'm a little bit more curious about your situation, but probably your student's in 11th grade, I'm guessing. And so I have a couple of questions there in terms of what you've looked at, what you've tried, and perhaps what colleges specifically you're looking at. And then what I focus on is anything to do with the writing, okay? So scholarship applications, fellowship applications, programs, summer programs, applications of any sort, the personal statement, the supplemental essays, that's fine. So, and gosh, a couple of things here. I've been accepted to UC Berkeley out of high school. That was the top college in the nation at the time. I didn't have a very high GPA. I didn't have very high test scores. And I had a handful of extracurricular activities. I think that less is more. And I was heavily involved in music, was on an album, played in multiple venues, including juvenile hall, prison, while in my teens. And I don't know if that maybe helped me get in. I think the personal statement definitely helped me get in. And so I did go through the Ivy League Challenge also, which is a company that is rather large doing this sort of business. But I have a couple of advantages, and I think one of those is the focus on story. Now, I'm speaking kind of haltingly tonight, probably because it's been a long day and a long weekend. So you can imagine the life of a teacher, especially at the end of the year. And plus a tutoring session today. Anyway, so one of the advantages I have is story. Now, the way that you tell a story, the way that you answer questions can be everything. It really does make the difference, I believe, in terms of that acceptance to top colleges. And I've read some essays that they have, some released essays from Dartmouth, Harvard, I don't know how many other colleges, but there were like Stanford was in that group, I'm sure, Brown, Columbia. And anyway, so if you've read any of these, it surprises me how incredibly successful these essays were, obviously, in terms of getting the student in. There are a lot of myths. I've read some books that help students to separate fact from fiction in the high school life, the college life, and so forth. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point, as you can tell. It's been a long day. Now, if you want to chat for a few minutes on the phone, I'm just as curious as you are, and I don't work with everybody. I'm very selective and picky with who I work with, just because I want to be sure that who I'm working with will be successful and they're coachable and all that. Secondly, if you do like the information that you hear, we can schedule a Zoom session at a later time or even the same day and go from there. At that point, it's kind of like an intake, kind of like seeing a specialist. And you'll get all my knowledge, anything that I can give you during that session to give you a customized roadmap for your student based upon the entirety of their situation, right? Some of the things I've already mentioned, have they looked at specific colleges? Are they aware the college's mission statements, the values of each of those different colleges, all of that. Very systematic in that regard. So I'm really a student of the field there. Also a published writer. I've written in produced an anthology with people that I've helped with their writing. And yes, I frequently, with my writing groups, will have them published. Actually twice we've been published. That's not a lot, but I've done a lot of articles, stories for radio, and so forth. So I think really having the mind of somebody that can capture someone's attention is not just it's not just the answer of the supplemental essays, those answers to those questions, but it's how the student presents themselves, who they are, why it matters, right? Who are they, why it matters, are two major questions that you need to ask yourself in this whole endeavor. Okay? So I hope I've given you kind of a sense of this. I have references as well. So yeah, happy to help. If I can't help, then I'd be happy to try to find someone that can help you. And regardless, send you any tools that I can to help out. Okay? All right. Take care.